Neil from Essex here today with an important ownership tip for your tractor. Every once in a while you'll see posts pop up on Facebook or comments from other tractor owners regarding bolts that are loose on loader mounts or wheels. It's a good reason for that. We're going to show you a little bit today why that happens, some of the things that you should be checking on your own tractor, and a little tip that I like to see people implement.
Essex, a helping hand with your land.
The inspiration for today's video came from a post that I recently saw on Facebook. A gentleman was out running his neighbor's tractor and noticed that some of the bolts where the loader mounts onto the tractor's frame had worked loose and were a little sloppy. You're going to want to watch for this in two different areas. One where the loader mounts to the tractor, but also on your wheels where the lug nuts bolt onto the tractor frame. Now, during the dealership PDI process, and we go through and prep a tractor for you, we are torquing all of these bolts. But you're going to find in your owner's manual, there's actually recommendations in there for you to be going through and checking the torque on those bolts while you own the machine. Now, in the owner's manual for my tractor, the reference to that was at 50 hours. But I'm going to tell you might even want to do it more often than that, especially when a tractor is brand new. We see this most frequently on new machines when they're first breaking in. What happens is when you start working that tractor, whether it's turning the wheels and putting torque on them or taking that loader and crashing into a pile of dirt, you begin to work that machine around and it flexes a little bit. And as it flexes, these bolts can loosen up. And that's from the movement of those parts and also from the paint and stuff that's underneath of them. So there's a couple of things that you could do here to make this a little easier on yourself. So quite obviously the ideal solution here is to own the right tools in order to check these things by yourself and tighten and torque them when necessary. And you can do that. Every person that's got a good deep toolbox is going to have a good torque wrench in there. Now, many of our, say, not so tool savvy customers don't own all the things that you need. Torque wrenches are not cheap, especially ones that can go up to the higher torque levels required by some of this equipment. And you also need metric deep sockets in order to get onto the lug nuts. It's not something that's found in every toolbox. So in the absence of owning the right tools, which obviously would be ideal here, you own a tractor that probably justifies it, having a simple paint stick can be another alternative, or even something you want to consider doing anyway. I would go through and take a paint stick and mark the nut and then also back to the frame of the machine. And that's going to give you a quick visual of if something has moved and come out of adjustment, right? Even if you've torqued those bolts, simply by looking down and looking for that paint line in there, you're able to tell if that nut has turned, and you're going to have a good indicator that your loader or your wheel might be a little looser than it should be. Years ago, it was really only farmers and contractors that owned tractors and equipment, but today there's a much wider breadth of people that owns machinery and a wide breadth of, say, comfort with mechanical things, right? And simply going through and knowing something like taking that paint stick and marking those lug nuts can go a long way to giving you an easy visual if there's something that, you might need to make a phone call about or get a service technician out to look at your tractor. We have seen machines running around with wheels literally about ready to fall off, with the wheel studs all torn up, maybe damage done to the hubs. And so this is a real concern. It's something that you need to keep an eye on. And even if a dealership has prepped your tractor 100% correctly, can happen. You'll notice this called out in your owner's manual as something that you should be keeping an eye on. So $3 paint stick can go a long way to kind of helping you know how your tractor is wearing in. So if we can help with any parts needs for machines you've already got, service for your equipment, or if you're shopping for a piece of machinery, give us a call at Essex. We're available at 800-222-3373 or online at Essex.com. It's getting really bright now. Why does this always happen? Invest in some weather control.